Jagabandhu sir, good morning. Good afternoon. Hmm? Unmute yourself and
Okay, good morning.
so we'll wait for another 2 minutes because
Sure. No issue.
60 students are joined today morning.
Hmm.
So because now
So, how many students enrolled finally?
134 students finally enrolled, 24 from KIT. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
students, and all others are international students. Like that, the number is something 110, 113.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a good number.
most of the students are from this Nigeria. 65 students are there from Nigeria. Apart from that one also, many students are there who is from Bangladesh, 6, Bhutan, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Ethiopia, Kenya, France, Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
Mali, Nepal, Nigeria, Sri
Mm-hmm.
Lanka, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So
Mm-hmm.
the students are here from almost all the countries, many countries of Africa, as well as from Bangladesh, Bhutan also. 8 students are there. From Sri Lanka also 3 is there. From the Nepal also 2 is there. And from France and Malaysia also one is there. So all of the
Mm-hmm.
students are from Africa. And most of the students are from CSE background, but some are there from other background also. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're very enthusiastic to learn things.
Okay.
Okay, Mona Lisa, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just introduce to Dr. Jagabandhu Mishra sir, and then after only we'll start. We'll stick with the time. Fine. So, okay, you can start.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. I welcome Mr. Jagabandhu Mishra, IIT Dharwad, a tech-fever person, always like to learn and use new emerging technology in his field. He has completed his MTech in Communication Engineering from NIT Nagaland, submitted his PhD thesis at IIT Dharwad. He had worked as a research associate at Speech Processing and Pattern Recognition Lab, NIT Nagaland. He also has expertise in MATLAB, Linux shell scripting, HTK-based HMM system design, Keras and Curly-based DNN system design for various speech processing.
And Jagabandhu sir is now currently working at University of Eastern Finland. He is
Yes,
doing his
yes,
PTF. Now he is going to present from Finland only. Okay. So the
yes, sir.
topic of the this session is fundamentals of speaker recognition. Now over to Jagabandhu sir. Now your session is yours.
Okay. Thank you for the brief introduction, and thank you for providing me an opportunity to present with such a diverse audience. Okay, so let's then start. I am sharing my screen. So, one second. Let me.
Your screen is
So, my screen will be visible,
yes, yes, is visible.
and equally, I am also audible.
Yes, yes. Good.
So today we're going to discuss about fundamental of speaker recognition. So the outline of the talk is as follows. We'll start with speech production, then we'll go slowly towards speaker recognition, features of speaker recognition, then modeling techniques for speaker recognition, then challenges, databases and resource. So, edge, the fundamentals of speech processing was not taught in the first initial sessions. I will go slowly, and I will try to give some small amount of fundamentals on speech processing and how it is related to speaker recognition. So I will request the attendees to be attentive. Maybe I will ask some questions, pause and ask some questions. Kindly answer. So it will be good to be interactive. Other than that, like your one side talk. So be attentive throughout the session. So if you have any doubts, kindly ask in between the talks as well. Not an issue. So with this, let's start. Okay. Now, initially, like we are kind of listening to Professor Prasanna about the present, past, and future of speech processing. So he have mentioned quite a good points in the earlier lecture, like how the speech research in speech processing evolved in around 1990s, 1920, around 100 years ago. So now we can see like many products are coming to our kind of many kind of customer based products are implemented and can be available. So one of the example is like you people are using on your mobile day-to-day mobile applications like that Google Assistants kind of things. So yeah, it's kind of thanks to all the research what happens in a kind of all 100 year or a century of research towards the speech processing on that. So starting from uh, biological things, how the speech generated, to like speech signal processing and to machine learning, and nowadays we are seeing the deep learning and kind of highly self-supervised learning and kind of large language models and all. So thanks to all the development, so we are now finally seeing some of the applications is available in for our day-to-day life on the speech processing with respect to the speech processing. So now let's see. So with this motivation, let's see how actually the speech production happens and how these things will be helpful for us to identify a speaker. Okay, so we will see, and also we can see like what in a broader sense what are the applications of speech processing. Then we will narrow down towards the speaker identification or verification or speaker recognition. Okay, so now if you see how the speech generally produced, suppose when we start thinking, so now I am speaking, so if I am thinking something to tell, so the message is generated in our head first. Okay, so once the message is generated, then what will happen? So like some nerve cells will take that message and instruct the lungs to pump. So once the lungs pumps, so it will like a continuous set of instructions from the brain that lungs will pumps in a sequence order. So once it pumps, the pressure release and then vibrates over here, what you are seeing over here. So it's a structure like a glottis, and once it vibrates, so it will give a train of impulse kind of thing. If you are from signal processing background, or if not, you can assume like train of impulse means like a just sudden spike. So it will give a sudden spikes with a designated order, and that will pass through our vocal tract. So vocal tract means starting from your glottis. So that is just here. If you are able to see my hands, so this will be just below your like um, uh, your kind of before the tongue. It's just started from here. So if you see like when you are talking, there will be some vibrations over here. So that when they pass through that excitations, that train of impulses, then it excites this system. Okay, you can see this is a kind of your system or kind of a tube. So it excites with that impulses, and this tubes is actually responsible for generating the sound units. Okay, and if you see this tube structure changes very fractions of seconds. In every fractions of seconds, this tube structure is changed. How the tube structure changes, and who changed the tubes? That is your tongue, jaw, and lips. Okay, these are known as major articulators. Okay, and the articulators change and pose different constrictions on your that system or tube. Okay, and it will responsible to generate different kind of sound units. Okay, so maybe in detail you can go through the link is available through this Alto University's there is a book, and even many lecture series you can get to know how this set of different sound units are different. So all this you can see. So the main aim here to convey is like that this is how the speech signal is generated and outputs here. So now you can see when we are generating some speech signal, what kind of things are involved in that generation. Okay, So one thing is, once we generate the speech, we can see like we can analyze which language the speech is produced, and in speech what are the text are there, content are there, or textual contents are there. So this is the kind of mainstream applications we can thought of. Okay, the another thing is, can we use it as a biometric authentication? Okay, so now you people may know that about the face recognition, and most of the laptops are coming with fingerprint recognitions. So similarly, can we use our speech as a biometric authentication? So if you see from this figure itself, so every person's, this region at least, the vocal tract region and this, so when the lungs press the air, so when the air passes through these tubes, so this tube structure for every person is different, because you may know like the face is different from every person to person. So similarly, this physiological structure is different from person to person. So what speech is produced from here, so that may also different from person to person. So that is the motivation that we can also use speech as a biometric authentication. Okay, so that is how the speaker recognition terminology come into picture, that if you want to use this as a biometric authentication, okay, so that is known as speaker. You are identifying or verifying the speaker. Okay, so that is why it is known as speaker recognition. Okay, so that is one term. And other things, if you see out of the scope, so as all these articulators and all these are involved in speech production, if something happens in between your vocal tract, or maybe in this nasal tract, or maybe in kind of in this sessions like your lungs to your glottis, something happens of some constriction, some biological things happens, so you can also identify the similar things from your speech. Okay, so that is how the biological applications, so my kind of biomedical applications of speech come into picture through this. Okay, and the third directions is like you can one is like your output, whatever the speech is outputting from your lips, so that using that you can do kind of speech recognition, language recognition, and some translations as well. And if you see the with respect to the speech coming due to the physiological structure, you can do some biometric identification or identity verification. And then when you are seeing about the all the visual these things, these multiple things are involved in speech production, starting from brain to all, so many kind of brain diseases, and also you are like where the speech production is involved, these diseases also you can identify using your speech signal. So with respect to that, we can categorize the mainstream applications of speech processing in three main categories. So one will be mainstream applications like speech recognition, speaker recognition, language identification, and speech to speech translation. So these are the fields, if you see, it's largely used in public domain. And it is like if you see like these things are already available in your mobiles or applications as a and largely used nowadays. The other unexplored part, if you see, currently the research is going on, mostly the in application point of view are not ready till now. So these are like this biomedical applications. So how suppose there are some cases people have shown like the COVID also you can detect through the cough sounds and such things. So there are many biomedical things you can detect using the speech, and still it is not in a productization level. Okay, so this is the current state of kind of research in these directions. And the other thing is through the speech you can also enhance your education and agriculture through different translations and frameworks. So in this talk mostly we will focus about your speaker recognition. Okay, so now can anyone from the attendees tell what do you mean by speaker recognition? Anyone?
So to verify who the person, who is speaking.
Anyone else? Any other definition?
It's like to identify a voice of the speaker.
Okay, good. So, it's like two of the attendees have answered. Like, what do you mean by speaker recognition? It's mostly from their voice. We have to identify the person. Okay. So, when we are going for any kind of system design, we have two kind of systems. Okay. So, what are the two kinds of system? One is given a voice, we have to identify which the voices belongs to which speaker, and the another way is given a speech signal, we have to verify is it belongs to that speaker or not. Okay, so on that way, these two are different. So one is speaker identification and speaker verification. So if you can see in the figure, so first one, it is telling given a speech signal, it is telling which voice is this. So you have to identify here which voice is this. So if you see the mostly the forensic applications, no, so maybe you can have seen in the movies kind of things like when we are getting some speech signal and they go and see in the database of the kind of clients or kind of some terrorists. So is it matching with someone's voice or something? Okay, so on that case they generally do the identification. Okay, so they have signals or pre-trained model of different kind of terrorists or their kind of possible lists or potential lists. So given a speech signal, they just identify it is belongs to which speaker. So with respect to that, they tell like this voice maybe belongs to this terrorist or something. So then this is how the speaker identification applications is. Now, if you see about speaker verification, it is a very wider applications mostly. So if you see about your banking authentications, when you are going and withdrawing some money from the ATM, what you are doing, you are first entering your ATM card, and then the ATM machine asks you to kind of press the password, correct? And the password is your identity, it will verify. So instead of password, maybe you can use your voice. Okay, so you replace the password with your voice. So that is what the speaker verification is. Okay, so there, like, you are giving password to verify yourself. Instead of that, you can use your voice to verify yourself. So similarly, the similar things can come also. You are like when you are logging into your laptops, now you are using fingerprints. So instead of fingerprints, you can also use your voice to log into your laptop. So your model is already there. So given a speech signal, you just have to verify that is it belongs to me or not. Okay, so that is how the verifications is. Okay, so now I think you should have a very good clarity between identification and verification. Next, go to the next part. So now when we are telling about this, then can anyone think what should be, what maybe, can anyone guess like what may be the closed set versus open set over here? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. So when we are designing a system, so the practical thing is like we have to constrain the number of speakers. Correct? So then only we can design a system. But if you see the usability point of view, so even we have designed a system with 10 speakers, if some 11 speaker come and verify, on that case, how the system will behave. Okay, so on that basis, they have kind of divided the systems into two parts. Okay, one is closed set, another one is open set. So closed set means they are telling the, if you are specifying the system is closed set, so you can only do trials with the enrolled speakers. Suppose you have taken 10 speakers, you have to do enrollment and testing in only 10 speakers. On other speakers, the system will not bother. If you attempt with other speakers, the performance maybe you will get something weird, and that is not kind of calibrated. The system is not calibrated with the other speakers. Only the calibrated with your enrolled speakers. That is known as closed set speaker recognition. When it is anything else, anything, anyone, any question? Hello. Okay, so then comes to the open set. So open set just converse of that what we have discussed. So even the n+1 speaker come and ask for identity verification, the system should take care of that. Okay, so like it should design a kind of none of the speaker model or something such that it will tell no, this speaker is not enrolled. So for them also it will give a kind of guarantee of performance. Then we can tell this system is an open set speaker recognition system. Okay, so I think now you have got a clarity between the closed set and open set. Next is text independent and text dependent. So can anyone tell what may be the text independent and text dependent? Anyone from the participants?
What we are saying actually, so we have to feed the text as well in the text dependent, and in text dependent we only do the training or set up the model by using our voice only, I guess.
Okay, so it's not exactly the same. Actually, when we are going for speaker recognition, we were not dealing with text at all. Okay, so text dependent and text independent means here, like when we are telling some phrase. Okay, so if it is a text dependent, the phrase will be same in case of training and testing. Okay, suppose I am telling suppose my name is Jagabandhu is my kind of voice I am giving to the system, and the time of testing also I have to tell the same, my name is Jagabandhu. Then it is a text dependent because the underlying text in my voice is same in both the cases. Okay, so then it is known as a text dependent. The other than it, like else than that is it will be text independent. So on that case I am like free to tell anything. Okay, so the system will be trained. Suppose I am what am I now I am speaking or kind of talking with someone, the system people will take the recording and train the system, and whatever I will tell, even I will tell my name is Jagbandhu or hello, hi, everything the system should recognize me. So then that is known as a text independent. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so now the we already have seen like speaker identification and speaker verification. There have also some high level speaker recognition tasks. Maybe at the end of the lecture we will discuss about that. One is speaker detection, speaker segmentation, speaker clustering, and speaker diarization. So I think one of the talk is also there. Maybe uh, some maybe in some second week of this, so you can see what do you mean by speaker diarization in details. Okay, on that talk. Now come to the basic system design. Okay, so now can anyone tell when you are doing any kind of system design on machine learning system design, what are the basic steps? Anyone tell? Any kind of system design, machine learning system design, what are the basic steps involved on this? Anyone?
Okay, can I speak, sir?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay, so the basic design is that there will be a point where you have the test gathering phase, then going to like data preprocessing. After data preprocessing, there is some kinds of feature extraction. It depends. Then the model training and also evaluation and results. So that's basically.
Okay. So when we are okay, so I think thank you for your response. So mostly when we do any kind of system design, machine learning system design, so initially we take the data for our system training, and once the system is trained, we first benchmark our results. Okay, benchmark our system through a evaluation. Okay, then we deploy that system to the public and we tell like our system has this percent of accuracy or maybe some performance. We generally tell and benchmark that. Okay, so with respect to that, here also when we are doing some training, what are the in general steps it is involved. So as one of the participants is told, like first we have to take this data, and from that we should do some pre-processing of the data, and then we should do some feature extraction, that is task specific feature extraction. Okay, so what task we are doing with respect to that, we will extract that feature, and then we will do the modeling. Okay, so some machine learning models we will train, and once the model is trained, we will go for the evaluation stage. Okay, so similarly, we should have a kind of categorization of testing data or evaluation data. We will pass through the model and see what result we are getting. So with respect to that, we will see like what kind of performance measures we are taking, and with respect to that, we will tell, yeah, this model is of this percentage of giving accuracy or some error, this percentage of error or this percentage of accuracy. Now you take and deploy for your public usage. Okay, so on the similar way here, we have discussed now about speaker recognition, speaker identification, speaker verifications. Okay, so mostly here we will discuss about text independent. Okay, so largely used one is text independent speaker identification or verification systems. So here on the similar line of any machine learning models or machine learning tasks, here also like we will have two phases. One is training phase and testing phase. So taken the speech signals, we will first do the some set of pre-processing. We will discuss what kind of pre-processings are required. I think in details, maybe tomorrow there are multiple sessions. They will discuss how to acquire the speech signal, how to annotate them, how to do the pre-processing in details. They will discuss tomorrow. I will just tell in overview way, like first take speech signal and do the pre-processing and then do the feature extraction. Okay, so here when we are doing about speaker identification and verification, we will be constrained to our speaker specific feature extraction. Okay, then we will, once we extract the features, that we will use to train the models. Okay, so again, I am telling the for feature extractions, I think there have dedicated sessions for that. People will detail in detail what are the speech specific features people generally extracts. So here I will constrain myself to only for speaker recognition. Similarly for model also, training also, there are dedicated sessions. They will discuss all the modeling techniques available in speech processing areas. So here I will only emphasize on the modeling trainings used for speaker recognition. Okay, so these things we will discuss. So once the enrollment phase is done, in the testing phase, generally we do similar things, the test speech signal. First we do the pre-processing, then feature extraction, and we will match with the model already trained, and we will get a decision. Okay, so the decision will be like for identification system, it will tell which speaker it is, and verification system, either it will be kind of accept or reject. Okay, so this is how the system work on a speaker recognition. Okay, now let's see, like we are talking about the evaluations. Okay, so what are the evaluation measures that generally used, okay, in the machine learning task? So in speaker recognition, generally there are two metrics largely used. Okay, when you design a speaker recognition system and you want to deploy, or you want to sell it to some company or industry or some agency, so they will ask what is your system's identification accuracy and what is your system's equal error rate. Okay, so these two things you should tell when you are selling your speaker recognition system to any of the agencies. Okay, so what are these two parameters? So identification accuracy, can anyone tell what may be the identification accuracy?
Sure, it is, I think, how accurately the model identifies the speaker.
Okay, suppose like I have 100 test cases. Okay, I will pass through the system. I am doing an identification task. Okay, so I will see how many number of times the speech signal I given to the system, and the system is predicting the true speaker. Okay, true speaker means like suppose the speech signal is belongs to speaker one, and the systems is also predicting it is belongs to speaker one. That suppose out of 100, some 90 times it is telling the actual speaker. Okay, the model is giving like predicting the actual speakers. Then my model accuracy or identification accuracy is 90%. Okay, so that is about the identification accuracy. Okay, then come to the equal error rate. So the equal error rate is used generally to measure the performance of verification system. Okay, so why it is something beyond name called equal error rate, and why not something else? So you may know, like speaker verification is a kind of detection task. So I don't know, maybe some of you may know about this. So anyone can tell, like they have familiar with about the type 1 and type 2 error? Anyone? Okay, so let me ask on a different way. Suppose I have a system. Okay, so the system only have to give a decision that it is accepting or rejecting. Okay, so it only have two decisions, either accept or reject. Okay, so ideally, when there will be a actual hypothesis. Actual hypothesis means, like, let's change it to speaker recognition point of view. Suppose you are the person and you want to verify yourself. Okay, so then you are giving trials to the system. Okay, and that may happen that someone else is also trying to pull your system, or kind of use your system, such that he's also trying with his voice, okay, and trying to access to your system. So how we can calibrate this? Okay, so when you are trying and the system is accepting it, that means it is good, correct? But when you are trying but the system is rejecting it, okay, so that is a error, correct? When you are trying and the system is rejecting it, there's an error, and this is known as false rejection rate. Okay, so suppose you have given 100 trials, out of that 10 times the machine fails to identify yourself. Okay, so then it is known as false rejection rate of 20% on that case. Okay, the other case is false acceptance. Suppose your friends is trying to access your system. Okay, so on that case, out of 100 trials, 20 times he is able to access your system. That is error. Okay, so on that is known as false acceptance rate. He should not be accepted by the system, but he is able to access. Okay, so that is known as false acceptance rate. Why this is actually happening? If you see a machine learning point of view, when you have trained your model, what generally you have done, like you may have given a threshold. Okay, so you are getting some scores from the model, is predicting some scores, and on that you have given a threshold. If it is crossing the threshold, then it is accepting. If it is below the threshold, then it is rejecting, correct? That is the general way we do. Okay, so now this threshold is providing a trade-off between your false acceptance and false rejections. Okay, so that is why. And the equal error rate is a point where, when you move the threshold from starting from 0 to somewhere, like the minimum value of the model predictions to the maximum value of model prediction, so there will be a point come somewhere where this false rejection and false acceptance rate are equal. That is known as equal error rate, and that is how the speaker verification systems are modeled. Okay, so that is how the speaker verification systems are evaluated and performance are evaluated. So that point is known as equal error rate. So with respect to this, your false acceptance rate and false rejection rate, maybe in the future coming slides, we will see some performance evaluation that is known as detection estimation trade-off curve, where the error is between false rejection and false acceptance rate. We will see by changing the threshold how the values are changing, and with respect to that, what would be the equal error rate. So we will discuss further slides how the things are changing. Okay, but remember, this is how the performance should be evaluated for a speaker recognition system. Okay, now we have discussed already about how to design a system. What do you mean by speaker recognition systems? Now let's come one by one stage. First is, what is about the task specific features? We know about speech signal is something. For designing, we need some feature extraction, some modeling, and then some testing. Okay, so now how to design it? What is the features? Okay, so we know, like we have a kind of hypothesis now that when someone is speaking, his voice is different from the other speakers because their physiological structure of speech production is different. Okay, so that is the initial hypothesis. We have felt that that is why the speaker recognition is feasible. Okay, so now we will see how we extract these physiological behaviors, or is there any other things rather than the physiological behaviors which can also be useful for speaker recognition. Okay, now if you see in the literature of speaker recognition, so speaker recognition, if you see, by the time being, it is around more than 70-75 years of research is already gone onto the speaker recognition field till now. So if you see, majorly these three are the blocks, okay, what generally people use to extract the information from the speech signal. Okay, the lower side is your short-term spectral and voice source features. Okay, short-term spectral means, like I have told no that it is giving some initial impulses through our glottis and it passed through the system. Okay, and in short-term spectral, what generally people do, we see the system and we see how the system is changing with respect to time, and the system characteristics we model through the short-term spectral analysis. Okay, the system characteristics means here our vocal tract. So the vocal tract, the tube, we generally model through the signal processing. Okay, so that is known as short-term spectral and voice features. Now above to that is our prosodic and spectrotemporal features. So that tells, suppose I am telling like some vibration is happening here, so how that vibration dynamics is. Okay, so this vibration dynamics also different from different persons, so that also can be explored for speaker recognition, and that features, if you take out from the speech signal, that can also be used for speaker discriminations. Okay, the third thing is, these are high level features. What are the high level features? Suppose I am born and brought up from Odisha. Okay, so we generally use our colloquial language, some Odia language. So if you see my, when I am talking something, maybe my voice and articulations are more biased towards the Odia language. Okay, or Odia phone sets. Okay, and I am belongs to, suppose, in engineering background and belongs to some doctoral education. So my words and what words I am choosing when I am speaking, these are all influenced about my background or my profession. Okay, suppose you take some other person who is belongs to some South Indian part, or maybe belongs to some other domain, some medical domain or some other domain. So he may use some words which is belongs to his profession or something. So these words or these things, if you can able to characterize from the speech signal, these are known as high level features. Okay, so on that way you can like extract, these are three different level of features you can extract from the speech signal to uh, model it. Like these are the feature extraction. So these are the features you can extract from speech signal to kind of model your specific speaker. Okay, so and with rest, now these are the features we know. Okay, uh, now how easy and how difficult it is to extract from speech signal. So if we see from the down to up, okay, so extracting the informations is okay. So if you see here, there will be a block called kind of easy to extract. So the downside features are easy to extract, where the amount of data is also required small, and it is text and language independent. Okay, then it is good to kind of, you can do the real-time recognition and all. Whereas these are very much affected to noise and background variations. Okay, whereas if you go to the up levels, like the downsides, you may extract and all this using your like local CPUs and all. Whereas the upside, if you want to go, you need lot of amount of data, okay, to model such informations, high level informations, and it is difficult to extract. You need a kind of high level of machine learning model to train them, and you need a kind of GPU or kind of processing units to train these big models and extract such informations from that. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one how the things are happening. So you just keep into mind that. But the thing is, other way, the benefits on that is these models are independent of any kind of uh, uh, your background variations and your noise variations and your acoustic variations, the up level features. Whereas the down level features, though it is easy to extract and easy to process, they are uh, kind of not prone to your like these background variations and all. Okay, so now we have seen like there are some three stage of features. We will discuss one by one. Short term spectral features, excitation source feature. Okay, these are belongs to the lower level. That excitation source is your this glottis, the vibration about on the glottis, that is known as excitation source. Third one is the prosthetic features, how the dynamics of the glottis vibrations and all. And then the high level features, that what we are telling about our ideolectical features or some language difference or pronunciation difference, and all these are high level features. Okay, so now if you see in the speech signal, so I think Professor Prasanna has also mentioned in the kind of initial lecture that speech is a quasi-periodic signal, okay, or like it's a non-stationary signal. So we generally do it in short time processing. So if you see in short time processing, so you do the frequency transform of that, okay, you will cut such kind of spectrogram, sorry, spectrums, okay. And if you average the spectrum, you can get this blue color, this one. So spectral smoothing, you can see these, there are some peaks in the different locations. So peaks in the locations tells there have some constrictions on your vocal tract passage. Okay, so it's generally termed as a kind of your resonances. Okay, these peaks, and these resonances are mostly depends on your shape of your vocal tract. Okay, and it continuously changes. And then what people do, they generally characterize this peaks, okay, these energies, vocal tract energies, these spectral energies. So this generally, okay, so that is like the way what we have discussed about the short term features, they generally characterize this. So one way of characterizing this is known as male frequency substral coefficients. There are different ways come in the literature starting from 1967 to 2010. So there have many approaches, and most popular of them are these four: male frequency substral coefficient, linear prediction substral coefficient, linear spectral frequencies, perceptual linear prediction. So all are kind of characterizing this spectrums what we are seeing, these short term spectrums. Okay, so the most popular one was kind of male frequency substral coefficients, and nowadays kind of these MFCC coefficients are mostly available in all the basic Python speech libraries, starting from Librosa to all. Okay, so I will just tell what is behind this MFCC. I will not go on details because maybe one of the next kind of future sessions we will discuss in the details. And so I will kind of just tell what are the things happening in MFCC. Okay, so taking a speech signal, so first we generally do some pre-emphasis, and as we know, like it is non-stationary signal, we will do the frame blocking. Okay, frame blocking means just we are constraining in 10 to 30 milliseconds, any kind of durations we will take, and we'll see how many number of samples are there, and that samples we will take and do some windowing. Okay, then we will do some Fourier transforms to that, and we will compute the power spectrum, and then some male filter wrapping. So this male filter wrapping is a kind of importance of this male frequency substral coefficients, that is motivated from our perceptual mechanism. Okay, so what is perceptual mechanism here? So when we hear generally, so with low frequency areas, so our ear is highly sensitive, and high frequency the sensitivity decreases. Okay, so on that basis they have come up with a filter called male filter. So maybe you can do the similar experiments. Maybe from YouTube you can listen to different frequency sounds, and you see like you can able to discriminate between the frequencies in the low frequency range. When you go from 15 more than 15 kilohertz or so you will not able to maybe in even more than 3 kilohertz or so, you will not able to discriminate between the frequencies. Okay, so that is how they kind of prepared one male filter theory, and using this male filters they pass that, and then you will get different coefficients from that, and they will do the log transformation. So the log transformation is done kind of to decreasing the variability between, because the what we have seen here, no, there will be a high variations between the spectral components. So that is why here also it is in dB, if you see. So that is why they do generally the log transformation. Then you do the inverse dct. So every feature needs to represent in compact way. So that is why the inverse dct has been done here to kind of magnify the energies in the lower components, so that you can take very minimum number of points what is extracting from this, and you can use it for to train your machine learning model. Okay, so this is the one way what generally people use to train the speaker recognition system. Okay, these features is largely used. Okay, so the other feature is kind of our excitation source feature. So mostly it is motivated from our glottal vibrations. So they emphasize that this glottal vibration pattern is different from speaker to speaker. So that is why so they, from the speech signal, they generally extract out our glottal vibrations and they model the glottal vibration. So here they are showing like from speaker 1 and speaker 2, you can see this glottal vibration patterns. MPDSS, RMFCC, and DCT-ILPR, these patterns are different from speaker to speaker. So in the further slides, we will see how they are computing these features. So like we have seen the MFCC features, the excitations, they generally kind of model like this. So the excitation, if you see here, is like here, maybe I will not go on detail about the LPC modeling. So they generally do kind of one LPC modeling. So on an overview, I can tell. So LPC modeling is in the layman term, you can see, suppose I am getting some speech signal and we want to predict the next speech signal by seeing the previous number of samples. Okay, so our predictor will predict. Okay, so what will happen? So if there is a excitation, till the next excitation come, what will happen? This prediction, no, I can able to do proper predictions. When the next excitation come, the system will give a sudden change. Okay, so due to sudden change, what will happen? My predictions is not able to be proper. Okay, and it will cause a error. Okay, and this error is my excitation signal. Okay, is not it? So when the next vibration is coming and I am not able to predicting the sudden changes and it is giving an error, so this error I can use it as a kind of my excitation pattern. Okay, so that is how the residual MFCC they told are kind of characterizing the residual MFCC or excitation patterns they have taken. So E of n is equal to S of n, and escape of n is your prediction, and S of n is your actual speech signal. So from that they are getting the error signal, and they are and here they are telling how they are predicting. You can see the p number of p is your LP order. So they are telling previous p samples, take previous p samples to predict the next speech signal. Okay, so when there you are getting error, that is your excitation signal, and this excitation E of n, if you take and characterize on the similar way MFCC is characterized, is known as residual MFCC. Okay. So, and the other way, just sophisticated way, the similar things you take the, and there only the difference is here some pre-emphasis they have done and do a inverse filtering. So then it is not as integrated linear prediction residual. So it's like similar things but different way of creating this. It's not another feature called DCT-ILPR feature. So it is somewhat better than the RMFCC feature. And the other one is your male power difference, like MPDSS. This is like your peak to side lobe ratio. what we are extracting our LP residual signals or E of n. So we will see the how the two peaks, consecutive peaks, what will be the difference between them. So that can be characterized through this MPDSS feature. So if you see this, I was telling when we are discussing about the performance evaluation, that false alarm and miss probability detections. Okay, so along with your threshold, you can see this is the errors. So you can see MFCC is this one. Okay, and with respect to your MFCC, your short-term features, and these are all excitation features. So it is showing this MFCC is better. And the equal error rate, if you want to know, so you will give a kind of 45-degree your line if you, and where it will be crossed around 10% or 20% it is crossing. So 20-25%. So if you see the MFCC is giving around suppose 25% equal error rate. And when you are using all these excitation features, the equal error rate increased, but it have a complementary information because MFCC mostly characterize your vocal tract, whereas these excitation features characterize your glottal vibrations. So that is why we are seeing there is a complementary information. And if you see the combination of them, MPDSS, RMFCC, and DCT-LPR, there is a clear-cut improvement in all the. You can see the with different threshold, you can able to get less miss probability rate and kind of false rejection rate and false acceptance rate. Okay, so accordingly, like if you add all the things, you can get better. Okay, so that is how we have discussed about our short-term features now. So there are two kind of more broader sense the short-term features. One is characterizing the vocal tract, another is characterizing our glottis vibrations. Okay, the next we will go for the second level of feature, which is known as prosodic features. Okay, so prosodic features are like if you see here, so it's known as kind of first they have shown like F naught. F naught is like what we are saying about our glottis vibrations. Okay, so how this fundamental frequency, how this vibrations happens, that may be happening with a frequency, correct? So that is known as fundamental frequency, that excitation, how it is doing in our glottis. So if you want to characterize that, if you see A, B, C, D, so for female speakers, if you see the distributions of this F naught is different. Two speakers you can see for male speakers are also different. So that motivates us that also we can use and characterize characterize for speaker discriminations or kind of speaker identifications. Okay, so using that, they first see the F naught contour. So F naught specifically is not a prosodic features, but the contour of F naught is a prosodic feature. Okay, so now they are taking the F naught contour and they are seeing how what is the mean and what is the kind of how the skewness of the curve and all this. There have some 7 features they are extracting from that, mostly the F naught mean, change of F naught, distance of F naught peak point, then amplitude, tilt, duration. So these are the kind of if you have a F naught contour like this, so they are taking, these are the parameters. So 7 parameters to kind of characterize your speech signal. Okay, in every short term. So all the things we are doing here in kind of 20 milliseconds or 30 millisecond duration. Okay, so here when we are telling about prosodic, so we mostly considering a larger variations, like because every pitch value you are extracting in kind of very in 10 to 20 milliseconds duration, and when we are seeing in a word level or say kind of between a kind of word or syllable level will be mostly around 250 milliseconds to 300 milliseconds duration on an average. So on that we are seeing the contour and we are getting the prosodic features. Okay, so now if you see in the prosodic features as compared to the spectral features, the prosodic features are again like excitations, it is inferior, but when you are combining both you will getting a improvement over here. Okay, so that is all about the features and feature spaces what till now has evolved in speaker recognition field to kind of do your speaker recognition. Now we will go for how these are the features we have suppose extracted. Now how to model them. Okay, so what are the machine learning models people generally use to model these features? So first and foremost in 90s era are kind of vector quantization. Okay, 90s 80 and so people used kind of vector quantization based approach, and then say slowly moves towards the Gaussian mixture model in 90s, and then around 2000 they come up with the Gaussian mixture model and universal background model, and that was kind of state of art that time around 2009 and 10. Then the I vector came into picture. So till 2016, I vector based framework was the state of art in speaker recognition. Then later, when the deep neural networks evolves till 2020, even till now. So the neural network based, though they are also using some I vector approach framework, but the vector computations have changed towards the neural network based. We will discuss one by one. So they known as an X vector based approach. So that is now a state of art. So nowadays, if you see like large language models, so there have similar self-supervised speech models available in pre-trained models are available in public domain. From there, they are computing self-supervised features, and along with the X vector framework, they named it as kind of WebLM X vector framework. So currently, people are kind of happy with such models, WebLM X vector and X vector based frameworks to perform the speaker identification and verification. So maybe we will see one by one. I will just pick the milestone based things. So we will start with the initial thing, vector quantization. Then we will go because the GMM and GMM UBM is kind of similar with this with small variations. So we will not discuss about GMM, UBM. We'll go to the I vector and then we will go for the recent technologies. Okay. So now what we have discussed, the features. Okay. So when we are training something with respect to the features, what we see this all the features what we are extracting is a point in a m-dimensional space. Okay, so here I can't show you m-dimensional space. I am showing you a two-dimensional space. So in m-dimensional space, each features is a each feature vector is a point in m-dimensional space. Okay, not features, feature vectors. Okay, so you may have multiple feature vectors from a single person. Okay, so you will take suppose this is a kind of example of your 5,000 data vectors. So using this 500 data vectors, maybe this is belongs to a single speaker. Okay, so I will take this data and I will do some kind of clustering techniques. Okay, so it's known as vector quantization based clustering. Maybe you people may know about clustering. If not know, maybe you just think something we are doing quantizations kind of thing. So clustering, maybe it will be in details. It's an unsupervised learning. This clustering is, so maybe it will just give a like a partitions between the data. So maybe in the next future sessions, people will discuss about when they will discuss about machine learning models. So now it will give such cells once the clustering is done. So once the cells are created, no, you can see the black dots. These are the mean of the cells, each cells. Okay, and these are known as code books. Okay, so we have total 64 code books here. So once after you have all the data points and you are clustering them and you are getting your 64 clusters, and 64 clusters mean you have 64 mean vectors, and this mean 64 mean vectors are known as 64 code book vectors. Okay, so when a test, so you will do such things for every speaker. Okay, so there will be 64, suppose here in an example, 64 code books I have extracted and stored for one person. The second person's speech again I will take and I will prepare the 64 code book vectors and store. Third speakers I take and make 64 code book vectors and store. Now when the test utterance will come, if you are doing identification, I will see the speech signal Okay, so suppose speech signal is X over here, and RK is like my code book vectors. Okay, all the points is code book. So I will check the whole distance for a respective speaker, and I will sum and divide by number of samples I have. So I will get a mean score for that speaker. Then for other speakers, for their code book, I will compute the mean score. For the other speakers, again, for using their code book, I will compute the mean score. And then whatever the mean scores, what we have, distance scores, I will take the minimum distance from that. Which model have give me minimum distance, so that speech file is belongs to that specific speaker. Okay, so that is how I will do the identification. When we are doing about the verification, what we will do, similarly we will compute the distances, okay, for the corresponding specific model. Suppose I am claiming to myself my model is already trained, and there the vector quantization model is code books are already there. So I will take my speech signal, test signal, and I will compare with that model, and I will get my distance. And if it is less than to some threshold, it will be accepted. If it is greater than to some threshold, it will be rejected. Okay, so that is how the vector quantization works. Now, what is the difference between vector quantizations to Gaussian mixture model? They also do the similar things. The only thing is here we have hard clusters, whereas Gaussian mixture model is probabilistic clusters. So it will not tell this is my cluster. This is still the probability of this cluster at this point is this much. Okay, so there is a soft cluster. So the only difference is that. So maybe in details, the other sessions you can discuss about that Gaussian mixture model. Okay. So on that way, and the similar framework there, it's not distance, then it is probabilistic, so that we can get the likelihood vectors. So likelihood is high, then the speaker is detected. Likelihood is less, the speaker will be rejected. Okay, so distance is opposite on that. So now after that era, suddenly around 2000, people thought like instead of going for clustering and all, what about the vector space modeling? So what they thought, like given a speech signal, we will like maybe you people may have know about the vector representation. So when we represent some vector, we will tell like these are the magnitude of the vector, and these are the coordinates of the vector, correct? Or like the basis of the vector. So that is how we represent a vector, correct? With a dot product of the basis and the magnitude, correct? So suppose 5 I cap plus 6 j cap. So 5 and 6 are kind of the magnitude, and I and j are the coordinates. Okay, and are the basis, correct? So what they thought, like they will break the speaker super vectors, and maybe you can think in some, they are getting some super vectors, and that super vectors they want to break it in two parts. Okay, so one is like their that known as it is a speaker vector, and another one is your basis of that. Okay, so this basis here, if you think it is like your T, the total variability matrix. This total variability matrix is the basis vector, like ij k cap kind of thing, and W is the magnitude which is belongs to a speaker, or maybe the whole with respect to the speaker. So it is known as the I vector. So this W vector what they are getting, this is dot with your basis vector T is known as the I vector. So mostly they told M is M plus TW. M is your utterance. You are getting your utterance. So M is your utterance super vector. M is your that speaker specific, that sorry, in the whole data set when you are taking, you are getting a UBM, universal background model. There is again same as kind of Gaussian mixture model. So they are taking the mean vector of that plus. So it is telling, so the mean is like what are the mean variations in all the data points we are taking from a different set of speakers. So these are the mean variations. So on above the mean variations, what are the extra things you have? And extra things, you have a basis, you have a vector magnitude. Okay, so now the vector what you are taking, that embeds the speaker specific details, because when you are seeing modeling these things with respect to multiple speakers, so the base will be your kind of your what are the similars across the speakers. So maybe the if you have used only one microphone, one environment. So these things will be same and this will be subtracted. Okay, and only the emphasis point you will get the difference. Okay, so on that case, the emphasis will be with respect to speaker. So along with the speaker, if you have some environment difference and some other differences, that also will be captured in W. Okay, now if you have such differences, you can compensate also that differences. How you can compensate? Once you extract this W I vectors, you can use the intersection compensation techniques, okay, to kind of compensate your, suppose you have a channel variations or something, so you can compensate that. Okay, so that using linear discriminant analysis within class covariance normalization and Newton's attribute projection. So in the details, you can go through the machine learning theory of that and discuss on that. So then if you give the compensations through that, again you will get a kind of lower dimension vector than the W. Okay, and that will represent specific to the speaker. So for the whole utterance, you will now get with a single vector. Okay, so for a speaker, so using that vector, when you get another test utterance, so now you have to just compare between the vectors. Okay, so you may know, if you have gone through some mathematics course about vector space, so you may know, like there is a cosine distance, so which is inner product divided by magnitude. It will tell, like, if the two vectors are kind of perpendicular to each other, so you will get what? The theta value will be, the cos theta will be around 0, correct? So
Yes.
and if it is 0, then we will get cos theta equal to 1, correct? So that is how they known as cosine distance. So if the vectors are parallel to each other, like they are equal, so then you will get a values cosine very high. Okay, and if you have two vectors are perpendicular to each other, that you will get a kind of 0 score. Okay, so so now if when your test utterance is coming, it is, if it is belongs to your, so you will be get kind of overlapped with the vector, so that you will get a very high score on that. And if you have from other speakers, they will get a very less score. So this is how the frameworks is developed from I vector, and it was from long kind of a decade, it was used as a kind of state of art for speaker verification. Okay, now this is the generalized from framework of that. Maybe with the interest of time, I will skip this. And then in the similar framework, after, if you see, like the deep neural networks, because all the things what we have seen till this point, it's like all the statistics and statistical learning approaches through the probabilistic and vector space. Now people have moved forwards to the deep learning based. So in deep learning based, again, if you see that they are doing some, this is the early deep learning era I am telling. So feed forward neural network, how they do the speaker recognition. So they generally take your features and then they stack the features with plus minus 10 frames. Then they pass through the neural network, and then they will get the log posteriors over here. And from the log posteriors, they're getting the test. Posteriors means, like if it is identified to the same speaker, it will give here as a high point, and other two will be less. If it is belongs to a second speaker, so here it will be the high value and others will be less. So on that basis, you can identify and verify. That is how, like with feed forward neural network, people initially used. Later, they thought of, like, the performance of when they were using with feed forward is not matching towards the I vector based approach. So they didn't thought, like, how to utilize the deep learning efficiently. So what they used, like they thought, like we have discussed earlier about the high level features. Okay, so by 2010 to 15, so at that time, mostly we have very efficient computing units, and we have also very high level of speech data was available by that time. And due to that, so there was, like already in speech recognition literature, so there are many models available by crunching many amount of data. Okay, so they use that high level of model train data, so training models, to extract the phoneme posteriors. Okay, so phoneme posteriors means like sound unit posteriors from the speech signal, and then they used as a vector to again model the if you see here, no, So filter bank features they are taking, and from the neural network they are getting the phoneme posteriors, and using that they are getting here a bottleneck features. And this bottleneck features again they are using in the same I vector framework. If you see acoustic feature, then bottleneck feature extraction, and then I vector extraction, then intercession compensation and cosine scoring. So similar way, like what we have seen in I vector, they used with the bottleneck feature, and they saw a kind of good amount of improvement they got using such framework. But the difficulty here is to get such model, some ASR model for that. Then they slowly moves when the advancement on your temporal modeling of speech processing, temporal modeling of deep learning. So through deep learning was kind of evolved around 2015 to 2020. So people started using multiple temporal modeling techniques. So mostly here was kind of the state of what using the time delay neural network. So in time delay neural network, using the time delay neural network, they have come up with a framework called X vector framework, where the in the lower regions it will work on the feature level, so frame level. So again here also they use features called the filter male frequency substrate coefficient feature. So what we have seen in the MFCC. So in layer 1 they give input as a feature, and then slowly here if you see in the layer 5.6 they make it to a utterance level. So now the I vector what we have discussed now, they use like some vector space modeling based things to get a single vector. So these single vectors they are extracting through the neural network now, and the other processing parts are same as a I vector, and they show kind of a significant improvement on language speaker identification and speaker verification using this framework. Now with the kind of advancement on generative AI, so people also explored GAN based architectures, so generative adversarial network based architectures for speaker verifications as well. Okay, now if you see like your large language models, so speech have some self-supervised learning based frameworks. So what they do now, so they don't go for any kind of feature extractions now. So they told that speech features can be extracted if you give him in raw speech signal. So through kind of this neural network will be able to give you appropriate features for that. Okay, so for that people for taking large amount of some unlabeled speech data, some thousands hour and thousands of hours or millions of hours data. So they kind of train such networks which will then use as a kind of feature extractor. So if you see the A block, so the A block they generally used as a feature extractor, and then they use the similar X vector and I vector based framework. So mostly they replace the MFCC. So what we have seen, no, this MFCC based feature extractions they replaced with this self-supervised neural network based feature extractor, and they do the similar way of I vector and X vector training, so X vector based training framework to kind of do the speaker recognition. So now these are the overview of currently these X vector system and this self-supervised based systems are the state of art till now. So though people are claims like they are now able to deploy these systems in the public, but there are still many challenges for speaker recognition. So mostly the first thing is a cross-lingual case. So in India, we are seeing like an text independent case. So mostly people switch language when they are speaking, and still now there was no study exist in the literature, and very minimum study exists like to how to enable cross-lingualism in the kind of speaker recognition uh, systems or frameworks. And the other thing is spoofing. So spoofing is kind of largely explored in 2015, and now mostly it is somewhat like you can see like deep fake detection kind of thing people are now doing with respect to the spoofing, because if you have deployed some system or kind of used for some banking applications or so. So if you are someone got your speech data and started synthesize your speech or kind of convert your speech to your their speech to your speech, and then used to the system may fail, okay, and able to give access to them. So on that cases, nowadays spoofing and deepfake detection was a kind of mostly eagerly looking areas where people are working on that. And the next one is variation in environment. Though people even like the self-supervised learning based approaches, people claims that environment variations was not an issue, but still we have seen like many cases in the deployment the systems are fails, even they are using with this one. So the careful study is still needed to be done or undergo on that. Then the next one is finally is edging. So till now, I don't think the edging is properly taken care by speaker recognition systems, because if you are using a trend-based system when you are in some age of 25, I don't know you this the same system will work when you are in 35 age. Okay, so that things also need a careful investigations, and the research directions needs to be explored on speaker recognition literature. So with this, I will mention the some publicly available databases of what people can take and start working on that. Whoever are interested to work on speaker recognition. The most popular one and a small data set was most popular in 90s was Timid, and still it has a very clean data set and very small data set, but has its one significance to kind of initially design and see something that is known as Timid data set. It is freely available, maybe you can download. And NIST speaker recognition series. So NIST is a kind of standardization organization. So every 2 years, 3 years, they have organized. Even this year, they have organizing the speaker recognition challenges to benchmark the systems. So different part of the world, like they participate on the challenge and benchmark their system through NIST speaker recognitions, and they provide the evaluation data and also sometimes the training, some amount of training data. So that also you can follow, but the earlier series data are available in LDC, but you have to pay for that. But yeah, in 2024 they have a challenge. So if you want to get data, you have to enroll on that, so you will get the evaluation data. You can benchmark your system on that. Again, SITW and Voxclaves are the open source data, and mostly crawled from the public YouTubes, and these data are already available in public, and also the models trained in SITW and Voxclave are very efficient, and these are also available in public. So if you want to just get a feel how the speaker recognition works, so you can download these models and you can play with them. You will get the X vectors from that, and even for your speech also you can see how multiple vectors, how it is correlated when you are taking for other speakers data, how this is giving some the vectors is kind of giving very low scores and all. So you can play around this. These models are also available in public. So recently, like I think 2022, we have organized from IIT Dharwad side, and even from Indian speaker recognition group, through supported by that through the National Language Translation Mission. So we have organized one challenge called Multilingual Multi-Sensor Speaker Verification Challenge, and the data also we have open sourced. So if someone wants, maybe can take that data and play around that. So, and this data set is mostly belongs to like how you can do cross-lingual speaker recognition. So it's a structured data, someone wants can take and start exploring on that. So some resources. So obviously there is a review paper available most from our group, and there are many other review papers are also available in public, so you can go through that. So this was the recent review papers from our group. You can go through this, and there is a book I think I have mentioned in the initial session. If you want to know basics of speech processing, you can go through that from the Aalto University. And speaker recognition system, yeah, we have a tutorial on speaker recognition system. So all the details, frameworks, in kind of 1.5 hours, we may not finish everything. So if you want to know about the details, kindly go through this GitHub link. You will get everything, like along with the videos, and even with the course. So you can play around that and see the things. There is a small demo here. So that is a Google, we have a notebook based demo. which will take a simple data set. From the data set you can download from here, and you can use this code to kind of design a simple speaker identification system using a feed-forward neural network. The codes are already available here, so if you want, you can play with that. And yeah, so these are the challenges and all we have discussed about speaker recognition. And there has again some advanced component of speaker recognition, like speaker detection, speaker segmentation, speaker clustering, and speaker diarizations. These are the current interest of mostly people are exploring, is a mostly like if you want to do anything on the conversations audios or something. So mostly for some downstream tasks like your automatic speech recognition and all. So these things are very important on that. So um, I can just given a speech signal, if you want to do, if you want to detect a specific speaker, okay, so that is known as, and from where to where the speaker's utterance is present, so that is known as speaker detection. So if you see the speech signal, and first case, if you see the detected speakers areas are colored in yellow color, okay, so these are suppose I want to give a audio and tell you detect in that audio where my sounds are present, okay, so this is how the detection people do. Next one is where the speaker segmentation. So where the speaker change is happening, you have to give a mark on that. Okay. So that is known as speaker segmentation. Speaker clustering. So taking the features, you have to segregate what are the clusters between them. Then the speaker diarization is tell who spoke when. Okay. So which speaker is coming one. So S1 that given a speech signal, you just have to annotate with S1 and S2 or S3, whatever the number of speakers, you have to annotate where from where to where which speakers is present. Okay. So that are the advanced components of speaker recognition. Whoever have interest, maybe go through that direction as well. So with this, I will conclude the session here. So if you have any queries, I will happy to take. I think I am in time.
Thank you, Dr. Jagabandhu. So anyone having any questions?
Sir, can you go? Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Sir, can you go to that I vector approach, sir, where that thing was there? M plus WI.
This one.
Yes, TW. So here can we say that W is extracted from that I vector basis extraction model,
W
right?
is I vector, correct. T is basis functions.
So can we say that this T is like an unit vector? I mean, we are multiplying.
Yeah, it is a unit vector. It is a matrix actually. So each vectors on that matrix is a unit vector.
It doesn't contain any magnitude. It is just a basis. When we multiply with that, we are getting the actual value, right?
Correct.
And what is that, sir? M and capital M. Can you please re-explain that?
So capital M is your utterance supervector. So given an utterance, you will compute M supervector. Okay, and small m is your UBM mean supervector. So like you have seen here the clusters, no? So if you train it with Gaussian mixture model, you will get such clusters, multiple clusters. So you will take all the means and concatenate it. You will get a great support one supervector. Okay, so that supervector is your small m.
Oh, so in I vector we are considering both. We are taking the Gaussian as well as the W, which is okay, sir.
So yeah.
Yes, sir. One more question was in unit quantization. In unit quantization, you have taken feature vectors. That
vector quantization.
Sorry, in vector quantization, sorry, sir. So that vector quantization, we have used the feature vectors, which are these dotted points. So these points are MFCC or the procedic features we have extracted?
Anything you can use. Okay. That is up to you. So all the things are important, and whereas MFCC is more important, what we have seen in the earlier things. Okay, so you can take MFCC and other features in the feature level concatenations, or maybe you can use separately and then combine there in the score. Okay, separately you can model and then combine in the score.
MFCC is more. Okay, sir. So MFCC is more like low level.
Yeah.
Sir, last question. So MFCC is more like low level. So when we go to the prosthetic, we are considering also the fundamental frequency, how the glottal excitation is happening. That we are considering as also
So
in
both,
prosthetic features,
see,
right?
both
So MFCC
MFCC
is more
and
level.
your glottal excitation is kind of short-term features, slow-level features. Okay, so prosodic is kind of medium level features where you are extracting in a syllable range. So low level means like in a 20 millisecond or 30 millisecond, we are getting a single vector. Okay, duration. So prosodic is medium level, so you will get a vector in on an average to 50 millisecond. It's not constant. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Okay,
that
sir.
is how the difference is. So you should have to separately model them in different code books or maybe some different techniques. And then in score level, you can combine it. But nowadays, people don't even go through these are the fundamental techniques, how the speaker recognition evolves. So if you see deep learning, all they are take caring of all the things all together. So you don't have to go for specific prosodic and specific. Earlier in feature engineering, they do all this.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deep Sarkar. I think Dr. Jagabandhu here, another question is there in chat box. What are the current milestone in speakers? Is that possible to handle extract key entities?
Let me check the chat box.
Just stop scaring the screen otherwise.
I am not seeing the
But
chat box.
the question is, what are the current milestone in speaker recognition? Is that
What are the
possible to
current
handle?
milestones in speaker recognition? Is it possible to handle and extract key entities of speak from customer conversation? Key entities from customer conversation using speaker recognition. Yeah, the key entity from customer conversations, it's, yeah, you can do it two ways. Like I am not properly getting your question. So is it like keyword spotting you are telling? If it is keyword spotting, there is a different directions. Mostly they use similar frameworks, but yeah, that is a different directions you can see. But you can use similar frameworks for that as well. Okay, but if you are telling is a specific speaker speaking certain keywords, yeah, you can do speaker diarization and or speaker detection first, and then you can spot the keyword from on that. Hope it clarifies.
Is it clear? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then any other questions are there?
Sir, I have a
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So nowadays deepfake is increasing. So how reliable it is like for authenticating who is speaking, and how can we tackle that?
Yeah, parallel to deep fake, I can mention here that people are now also working on deep fake detection, and from last 5-10 years. And if you see the literature of deep fake detection in mostly on speaker biometric case, or like they told it as a area called spoof aware speaker verification areas. So they are, the systems are currently, though they are kind of in struggling, but still they are capable of giving certain reliability to the systems. Okay, though it is like still somewhat it can be tell like mostly it is able to give positive results, but still, as the techniques are also evolving parallelly, like the deep fake generation techniques. So at the same time, it will the fake detection also evolving parallelly with that structure to structure. So like hand to hand. So for even for now, you will get like reliable systems. Till now, we can go for a reliable system, but again, it will be constant to English language. People are thinking now cross-lingual things are not studied till now. Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Just to add on with that question only. So
Yeah.
before in the Android, the mobile was there was a feature to unlock my mobile using my speech, but right now it is not used. I mean, it is completely shifted to face recognition and fingerprint. So how is actually the authentication based on speaker recognition is progressing? That's what I just add to that question only.
I think in my view, it's like the days goes, the speaker identification and verification systems are becoming more robust and robust. Okay, so it's open on people usability. So maybe people are not much aware about this application. So maybe the awareness is required, and that's only I can tell. But yeah, the what we are seeing in the demand point of view, till we are seeing a highly demanding this voice-based authentication systems now are kind of people are even industries are also targeting not for the banking applications, at least for attendance systems and so. Because for banking applications it requires a time, maybe it will take another 4 5 years or 2 years to get on certain level, because still people are thinking it's not reliable or something. So but yeah, in China some banks are also using such applications, but yeah, along with some other authentications as well. But if you see like companies are also started using the kind of attendance based systems from speech. Mostly it's give a surge during the kind of highly required during the COVID time, no? So where people don't want to use their biometric one, so mostly people switch towards the face and voice based things.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I think no questions are there from anyone. So thank you very much, Dr. Jagabandhu. Very informative sessions. Hope you have already given some data sets. Hope if some participants agree or willing to work with you, then definitely they will contact.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much then.
Bye.
So next session will be at 3 o'clock by Dr. Govindi.
Wish you all a happy learning in all the sessions.
Thank you
All.
all.